Chad Aichs. 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 Chad A. He just recently filmed another podcast with Dave Tate on Elitefts Table Talk podcast. I highly suggest you take a listen if you have not heard it. Also, the one he did previously. They're both very heavy on the topic of mental health and serious mental health. If you are someone who kind of struggles with that on all levels, I'm just saying when I say serious, Chad talks about is some pretty gritty and scary stuff with his own personal experiences with mental health. So it's an amazing listen, very helpful. But whenever I see that Chad has got something up, I always get more out of it than I think I'm going to, and I don't say that because I don't think that what Chad is bringing to the table is not helpful. I I only I only get something out of stuff that I can relate to, me personally. If somebody's talking about a topic, like if it doesn't relate to me personally, I'm generally not going to get something out of it. I don't know if I have ADD or whatever, but it has to relate to me personally for it to kind of like stick. Um, but anyway, I always find it hard to believe that Chad's going to say something that relates to me because he's held in such higher regard as a world class powerlifter, one of the strongest in history. He's just held in such high regard. Like what would someone who's at that level, possibly have in common with someone like myself? Much like if you were a high school football player, listening to a video that I don't know Barry Sanders had or someone like that. Anyway, deer in headlights. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, Chet Aichs. He talked about the importance of sleep and mental health, and me personally, just dealing with not being able to train the way I want to, recovering from a back injury. Uh, Mental health has been an issue. Depression, anxiety, stuff like that. And I recently got some blood work done because I thought that my test was low. Just because things like my energy's in the tank, ambition is in the tank, depression is higher than what it usually is, sex drive is in the crapper. I just assumed that with my age, that my testosterone was low and that was the culprit. And when my test results came back and my testosterone was actually higher than it should be, um, I was really kind of confused on why those things kind of related with testosterone and male hormones. And I understand there's like 47 other male hormones that could play into this, but that's not my field of expertise. Uh, I don't have a field of expertise. Anyway. Um, I know there's other factors that go into that, but that was like my main culprit. I didn't think for a second that I've had sleep issues in the past. Last year, I found I had sleep apnea, and that was really fucking things up with me. It probably had the most significant damage on my mental health. When my sleep apnea was at its worst, my mental health was at its worst. Panic attacks, constant anxiety, depression. I thought I had a heart attack one night. It was just a really bad panic attack. And I don't know why I didn't think that all of these problems might have been related to my sleep, but I just assumed that it was low test. And when it came back that it was not because I had low test, I kind of didn't know what was going on. There's so many days where I would have zero ambition. Like I would wake up and I would have no energy. I literally could not think of anything positive. My brain just would not allow it. I only focused on negative things. I only focused on what I couldn't do. I had zero ambition. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't work when I was at work. I didn't want to lift when I was at the gym. I didn't want to go to the gym. And then there'd always be like these sporadic days where like my old, ambition and drive would be there. Like I would wake up and I never feel good in the morning regardless. I've never been those people that's woken up and feeling ready to kick life in the face. It always takes me a couple hours to get that going. But on those weird sporadic days, I had that ambition, where I wanted to do as much as I possibly could. As like I want to get as much accomplished today as I could. Like there was one day where like I read Dave Tate's book Under the Bar, and it's not a long book per se, but I hate reading and I struggle with ADD when I'm reading. But I was able to read that book in one day. Again, if you've read it, it's not a big book. It's not much of a brag. But for me to read a whole book in one day was something when I could have been watching TV or looking at YouTube or some shit. But it's just one of those days where it's like I wanted to tackle everything as much as I possibly could. My ambition at the gym was through the roof, and those days were just sporadic. They're like few and far between, and I've been trying to figure out this pattern. Like, why is this happening? Since it's not, my testosterone, what is going on? And I've just kind of just been going with the flow because I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to cut down on my caffeine, because as I get older, I'm worried about, you know, those stupid high stimulants and stuff like that. All the stuff that I usually do to get myself going in the gym. I'm trying to cut back this caffeine as much as I can, but I'm super dependent on caffeine and stimulants at the gym to get me through my session because, that drive isn't there. And there's even been some days where, you know, I would take 300, 400 milligrams of caffeine and just still be a zombie, no ambition, no nothing. So it's just been really confusing. And in this recent podcast with Chad, he talks, again about sleep. Because if you know Chad, he's had severe sleep problems his whole adult life. I don't remember if it was his childhood too, but his whole adult life, he's 51. His whole adult life, he's had severe sleep problems that have really caused him a lot of mental health issues. But he was talking about the importance of sleep and how sleep, plays a huge role in depression. And my sleep has not been the best. I get to, I'm in bed for 7 to 8 hours. Like, I'm in bed for 7 to 8 hours, but I wake up a lot, and I often feel like I haven't slept. When I wake up in the morning, I quit using my CPAP because I lost 50 pounds. That might be something to explore. I might have to get back on the CPAP. My sleep apnea was obstructive sleep apnea, which meant it was just because I was too heavy. And I don't want to wear a CPAP. I don't want to be dependent on that to be able to sleep, but that might be something I might have to explore going forward. But I have noticed that my sleep's been off, and I did not put two and two together that could be affecting my mental health. And last night, Friday nights, Friday to Saturday, I usually get more sleep than usual, just because I don't have to wake up so early for work. So I think I was in bed for. I was in bed for 9 hours. I don't know how much of that was sleep, but I was in bed for 9 hours. I did not wake up feeling good because that's the norm for me. I never wake up feeling good. But once things kind of started rolling, I noticed that I had optimism. I had ambition, and granted, for the last week straight, I have been totally void of ambition and optimism. Like, my life, when I wake up to when I go to bed, was stuck in pessimism, just negativity. Like it's like I wake up in a mode, and that's the mode for the day. Like, there's no changing in and out of it. Like, that's the switch that's flipped. That's your day. So. Just to give that some relevance, like, today was the first day in about a week where I didn't have that, and it's just such this relieving feeling to be yourself. Like, it just, when you deal with this stuff, you kind of feel like a prisoner in your own body, and just to feel like yourself again, it feels so amazing. It's like you're getting to walk in your skin again, which is ridiculous. You shouldn't have to go days without feeling like yourself, but that's neither here nor there. And when I got to the gym, uh, usually, since I don't want to do anything, I don't want to do my warm-ups because my warm-ups are pretty specific and they kind of they don't take a while, but they they take 20 minutes, half hour to do them. And if I already don't want to be at the gym, I don't want to waste what little energy I have doing those. Because a lot of those days, by the time I'm done with my warm-ups, that's the energy that I have for the day at the gym, which isn't any at all. But today I got through my warm-ups like I actually wanted to do my warm-ups, and everything felt amazing. My shoulders and my elbows felt good, and my shoulders and my elbows have been trash all week. And anytime I've tried to bench in the last couple months, just shoulders and elbows have been garbage. And after my warm-ups, I was able to bench with no pain. No pain, optimism, enjoying what I was doing. It's like a foreign thought, and it's annoying. And finished my workout, had a great workout. And I was listening to Chad Aichs' podcast on the way to the gym. I listened to it in my warm-ups, and then I listened to it on the way home. And then he gets to talking about the effects that sleep has on depression and mental health. And if your sleep is garbage, that is going to affect your mental health, and that is going to thus affect everything branching out from that. You know what I mean? Like mental health, head from the head down to the feet. Everything that it entails is going to be affected. So basically, the point of this whole hoopla was go listen to Chad Aichs' podcast on the Elitefts Table Talk podcast. He's got 2 of them now. Both extremely helpful, both extremely insightful. And Chad also has his own podcast as well. So check him out on Instagram, and that will, kind of point you to his podcast. So yeah, thank you, Chad, for posting your stuff. I really appreciate it. It helps a lot.